Over the past several years, the Ransomed Heart team and I have been taking men on a journey. We've been taking them into that journey I laid out in Wild at Heart to recover their heart as men. That journey we use in our retreats and in our work with men takes a man into his deepest desires, into the poser that he can play, into his wound, and through those woods into the healing and the freedom and the strength that God meant for him as a man. And it is that path which we have been using that we now want to share with you.
If you take a look at the typical Christian man sitting in the pews of any church in America, what you tend to see is a really bored man. And what the boot camp is about is rediscovering that intensity, that drive, that fight that God put in our hearts at the beginning of time. I was put into this 3.5-day intense pressure cooker of allowing God to come into my heart. And at my very first boot camp, I don't believe in my first 40 years of life that I had ever heard God's voice. And when I was there for my first time, I was out running in the Colorado Rockies in the snow, and God showed up, and I started to hear this voice over my iPod, and I turned it off, and I'm like, what is this? And I dropped to my knees out in the snow, and I wept. And it was the first time that I really felt like a friend of God. It's not about where you go to church. It's about who you are as a man in Christ. And that's why we feel that we can open this up to men in the valley to be able to come to this, to rediscover their hearts. Wherever they're at in their lives, they can take this back and change not only their lives, but the lives of everybody that they come in contact with.